Good morning. Today I'm going to tell you a story that tries to explain a few things. I'm going to try and explain correlation, cause and effect, and how to define your morality. In other words, how to play the game. Correlation does not equal causation, but causation brings about correlation. And in sequences, the universe unravels itself in sequences of cause and effect, but there has to be a first cause. And I would agree with Aristotle on the first cause. The first cause is God, and God then is the prime mover. He's the first cause. And that would then bring us to a debate possibly on the existence of God. But in order to have this debate, it's usually a debate that I run from because it's usually just a debate of ignorance. It's just like Sam Harris. I noticed someone coming out of the shower the other day, or coming out of the bedroom the other day with a book called Waking Up by Sam Harris. And I said to him, what has Sam Harris got to say about waking up? And he said, it should be done later than this, you know what I mean? And I said, whatever, you know. I came down there and he said, I was telling the story. He said, Sam Harris wrote a book on waking up. And the Irish fellow who had done all the retreats says, I read it. And I said, what has Sam Harris got to say about waking up? He's an atheist, isn't he? And he says, yeah, he's an atheist. And I said, well then what the fuck is he to say about waking up? Because I know Sam Harris used to be an interlocutor for Peterson in this debate about the existence of God, but with pure pantomime because nobody defined their terms. Now, in order for anyone to have a debate on say the existence of God, we would first of all have to agree on a concept of God, and we would then have to agree on a concept of existence. And neither of them did this. It was like pure pantomime. No, he does, or he doesn't. I was very much at a superficial level. But if you want to come off the superficial level, like you first, as Plato in all philosophy, you first have to define your fucking terms. A rose by any other name is still a rose. So we could say, we could call it universe, we could call it nature, we could call it God, but when it's addressing me, for example, it refers to herself as God, because God manifests itself as a woman to me, but that's interchangeable, obviously. But again, all the binaries are interchangeable. But anyway, so God manifests herself as a woman, as a woman to me. So then my soul is a man. So we have, if you like, God and the devil, which is a binary opposite, masculine and feminine energy. But again, to somebody else that might manifest themselves as say Lilith and God. Do you know what I mean? So now we have a woman and God as a man. That could be interchangeable, but I'd like to think I know exactly who the personalities of the collective consciousness are, and it's a man and a woman. Well, I know who it is, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But basically, a rose by any other name is still a rose. We would have to agree on a concept of God before you could read. And then we'd have to agree on a concept of existence. For example, if I was to say to you, does Tyler Durden exist? You can look up who Tyler Durden is if you don't know, because I've got the time to explain it to you. Does Tyler Durden exist? You might say to me, no, Tyler Durden is a character played by Brad Pitt. And I say, yeah, but if Tyler Durden doesn't exist, how do we all know who Tyler Durden is? Do you know what I mean? If Tyler Durden doesn't exist, how do we all know who Tyler Durden is? He must exist at some level. He must exist at some level. Like, and if we say, oh no, Tyler Durden is just a character, so are you. You are just a character. Hence, work on your character. Work on your character. That's where it comes from. This we can get into the philosophy of language, but that's where it comes from. The origin of this comes from. You are a character. You are a character. I'm a character. I'm an avatar. But from one perspective, I'm a character, and you're a character. So basically, for most people, when we get into the existence of God, for most people, my first comment to them is you that don't exist. It's you that don't exist. And then we get into the theory of existence, because the concept of existence can go quite deep. But if we go to Descartes' under concept of existence, it's cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Now, given that most people don't exist, because the next thing then is, the next one after that, the next theory after that is, what am I? I'm a thing, I'm a thinking thing. Now, most people don't think. Now, they might think they think, but they are not the thinker, which means that they don't exist. So I would actually, to most people, I would say, well, it's you that don't exist. But this, we've had this out before. In order to exist as a thing in itself, you have to think for yourself. And in order to be able to think for yourself, this is quite a complicated process. You have to define your own values, you have to establish your own values and define your own morality. So I'll tell you a little story that might give you a guideline into correlation, cause and effect, and what it is to define your own terms. In the gym I go to a gym in the middle of town. One day a week, maybe more, I don't know, but it's one particular Friday they had chocolates on the way in. So I took a chocolate on the way in, and I thought it was quite a nice little gesture, a nice little thing, a nice little bit of serendipity, to be surprised with a chocolate going into the gym, chocolate for my happiness, as to say. And I took a chocolate going into the gym, and then coming out of the gym, I got an impression to take another chocolate. Now you can look up what an impression is, and you can work it out for yourself, but I haven't time to explain it to you. Well, I stood there looking at the chocolates for 2 or 3 minutes, trying to decide would I or would I not take the chocolate. I didn't just reach for the chocolate. And my soul said to me, well, Dave, what are you doing? I said, I'm taking the fucking sweet. And I took this chocolate. And I was waiting for it then, because your conscience will break you, and most people, when it does break you, they bury it. Now, this is the cause of a lot of their suffering. But I don't break it, I was waiting for it. And the minute he came then, well, what about the sweet? I said, we both know why I took the sweet. Oh, and then it didn't stop at that. It came up again. They think it was the right thing to do. And I said, we both know why I took the sweet. Which we did. We both knew why I took the sweet, because there was a certain process of reasoning that went into taking the sweet and not taking the sweet. But 2 or 3 days later, then the brother had sent me a few quid Western Union, because that's how it works. I don't have any bank accounts or anything like that. So the brother sent me a few quid Western Union. And I went in to withdraw the money from the Western Union, and I was left a $5 short. The man behind the counter left me a $5 short. Now, in the same way as we both knew why I took the sweet, we both knew why I was left short of $5. Now, if I was to, now my response was my own. Now, if I was to argue, where's my fucking $5? You left me short of $5, mate, and all. Yes, I probably would have got back the $5 and all the rest, but I didn't. I accepted the loss with equanimity, because we both knew why the $5 was taken. And if I had to argue and say, argue against that, where's my $5, mate? I want my $5, give me back my $5. I would have been a right prick, because basically, this is correlation. This is cause and effect. We both know why I took the sweet, and in the same regard, we both know why I took the $5, why the $5 was taken. So that was grand. I accepted this with equanimity. I laughed about it when I went out and said, right, we both know why you took the $5, fair enough. And then yesterday, why this story comes up today, is yesterday the sweets were in the gym again. So I took a sweet on the way in. I was delighted, little chocolate on the way in. And when I was coming out, I didn't even get the impression to take the sweet, take another sweet, because we've been through this, We've been through this. We both know why I took the sweet, and we both know why the $5 was taken. But I didn't, anyway. So there I was, walking to Kaufland after this. Now, I got the impression to go and buy a beer, and I said, fucking we'll go and buy a beer, yes, I would like a beer. And I said to myself, I'll have to walk to Kaufland for the beer, because the beer is considerably cheaper in Kaufland. It's only 2 lev for a beer in Kaufland. But I'd nearly, I often think that, the reason I'm here and the nearest position, Kaufland, that far away, so I'd have to fucking walk 3.7 kilometres and have a good think. I've no phone, no nothing, so it's just me and my thoughts all the way to Kaufland, walking and thinking, walking and thinking. And while I was walking to Kaufland, I found 3 little donuts covered in chocolate sauce. Now, I ate the donuts, enjoyed the donuts and all the rest. But exactly what this is if you can begin to understand, this is the first cause, which starts with the thinking, and then there would obviously have been a cause and effect. So, for example, cause and effect was while the fiver was taken, cause would have left somebody, cause for the donuts to be left where the donuts are left. This is causation, correlation, and this is not only that, but this is operant and classical conditioning. Now, in the same way as you would condition a child. Now, you condition a dog like this, but I'm not a dog. Now, if I thought taking the sweet was the right thing to do, I would have continued to take the sweet, and I don't give a fuck how many fibres you take off me. I would continue to take the sweet. But the reason I took the sweet in the first place was because the gauntlet was thrown down to me. Now, I wouldn't normally take the sweet if I just got the impression to take the sweet, but I did think about the sweet and did think about the sweet, and I did think it was whether it was the right thing to do or not. But basically, the gauntlet was thrown down to me. Throw a gauntlet down to me, I'll pick it up. I don't care who fucking throws it down. But yeah, that's why I took the sweet. More or less, like, I wasn't, if you challenge me to take the sweet, I'll take the sweet. And I don't really care about the consequences. I knew there would be a consequence, and I knew it would be coming. And I knew the question was coming. Do you think it was the right thing to do, taking the sweet? And as I just said, we both know why I took the sweet. But we both know why I took the sweet. We both know why I took the fibre. But as I said then, so we now have causation. We have cause and effect, correlation, and operant and classical conditioning. So this is what I'm saying. If you want to play the game, you have to factor in all these things. So you have to say to yourself, well, basically coming back to why am I suffering, but then it also comes back to the suffering is an opportunity for growth and development, because you can, but basically the point I'm trying to make is, if you don't fear the suffering, you enjoy the suffering, you don't praise the suffering, you can't be conditioned like a dog. It comes down to pure reason. And I spent the whole night defining my morality in relation to a certain subject. And how it came up yesterday was that it came up about the existence of God, that some atheists say, or some people say, use the thing about if there's objective values and objective morality, this is proof of the existence of God. Now, this is pure bollocks. Because morality is relative, and let me tell you, God too will inflict suffering on you. But people tend to say that evil is the devil, and it's this the devil, this is that objective morality, and what is objective values and objective morality? Well, this would be compassion, kindness, empathy. This is objective values and objective morality. But it's not quite that simple, because then you have to really break down your terms, and you have to break down your concepts, and what some people perceive and consider to be empathy and compassion and kindness and love is not, it doesn't really correlate with my concept of these things. Because, for example, last night, if you act in a certain manner, this is what Kant called appearances, and all we can have is appearances. But it might appear, if I act in a certain manner, it might appear to be compassion, it might appear to be kindness, it might appear to be love. But, for example, like Heath Ledger saying, my biggest mistake is that people would love me as much as I love them. But if you're given love for it to be reciprocated, to accommodate your insecurities, or or for your own selfish interest. This is to love. This is not love by my understanding of love. This is not my concept of love. You are only doing uh, an action for to serve your own selfish interests. For to reciprocate for you. This is back to why do you need love? This for me is not love. And you can apply this to compassion and kindness and everything else as well. How much of it is fear, how much of it is fear, how much of it is cowardice, and how much of it is actually kindness. But we'd have to define our terms. Bye.